Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Talk of the Trinity podcast. I am still Baz Barrett. With me is still Mr. Trinity himself, Will Forrest. And it's coming up to fireworks night. We've just had Halloween. We had the horror show that was events at St. James's Park. So because we make the rules, we're going to largely skip over that. But what we're not going to skip over is bringing you all the latest Villa news, rumours, transfer dealings, incoming coaches, outgoing coaches, absolutely everything that's going on at Villa. That is coming to you 24/7 on our Twitter page at Talk Trinity. Previous episodes whereby we previewed, reviewed games, had guests on. If you want the real Newcastle experience, go and listen to our preview show where optimistic Will predicted that we would get a result at St. James's Park. So put your earphones in, have a listen to that on our audio providers, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Google, our YouTube channel, and Talk of the Trinity. Then just pretend things didn't happen, for a week. And that, or just when Football Manager comes out next week, load it up, keep playing the game until we win at St. James's Park. But I jest, but only marginally so because of time restraints. Conveniently, we don't have time to talk about the fact that we lost 4-0 away at St. James's Park last Saturday. We can just say if Martinez wouldn't have gone off injured, we would have won 5-0. And there's no way to prove it. And we don't have to debate whether that was even true or not, because we are going straight in to off the field news, which has come out today of time recording in terms of the badge poll. And to sum it up, there's a round one and there's a gas lamp one. We were having a debate off air in terms of which is the preference. Will, which one are you going for out of that final two?
Well, I'll start off by saying that I like both of them. I think the round badge is that classic design that throws back to the achievements of the 1981 and 82 squads. Our European glory, the height of our achievements, the pinnacle of club football, really, isn't it? A
Yep.
lot harder to win all of that stuff back then as well, especially the league when you only had 2 points for a win.
Yep.
You'll remember.
We only had two players.
Well, exactly. I mean, but then I like the gas lamp one, and I don't know whether I like it because it's a bit different, but I think that could very well be the case. So I like the claret background to it. I like the blue lion, though. I think if I was seeing just the lion without the shape of the badge, which I noticed in the round badge video, but didn't notice in the gas lamp one, but that might have been because I wasn't looking out for it. I think I'd want a white lion or a claret lion there as well. I think that could work. For me, I'd like us to move forward and still keep a hold of our heritage and our achievements and display them for all to see. But I don't think we need to do that by recreating history, really. We can keep the star, which needs to be on the badge. We can have the forward-facing lion as per the original club crest. The gas lamp is a nice touch in regards to how the Football League and Aston Villa were formed. And then it also looks vibrant and new. And it also it's weird, isn't it? It's a modern or a historical twist on a modern design. I think the one thing with the round badge, and fans are gonna not like me saying this, but when I saw it on the shirt, it reminded me of like the Bristol City badge. That's very generic at the moment. The Robin. Whilst the Aston Villa lion and round badge would obviously be the best badge that there was going,
Obviously.
and would look and it would stand out. It's sort of been done before. The old Chelsea badge or the new Chelsea badge was very similar. I'd like to see a different shape. However, it's not going to stop me from supporting the club, supporting the team, and shouting "We want Emery out" when we lose to Man United.
Yep. And it's good that the club are seeking to engage the fans in terms of decisions like this. As you say, is it going to get us extra points on the field if we've got a round badge? Probably not, or remove the word probably and say no. But it's good in terms of being able to get a fan base which has gone through a lot, shall we say, in the last 10 years, perhaps even going back a little further. So anything to get that engagement, I'd say, is only a good thing. And I think the competing designs, I think you hit it on the head perfectly in terms of the descriptions, really. I suppose if you're more traditionalist, you will go the round badge. If you're looking for a bit different, you'll go for a gas lamp. My only thing in terms of the gas lamp is I think that will need explaining, which I'm told in advertising speak is not good news when you have to explain what your logo is. But perfectly happy with either. So I'm in your boat with this one. And ultimately, in terms of if you got a great badge and a terrible shirt design, then doesn't really matter too much anyway. But hopefully we will be able to marry both of those together going forwards. And speaking of marriage, we saw what's probably the honeymoon stage today at time of recording when Unai Emery was introduced to the media, the obligatory stadium shots, holding the shirt, the first press conference where asked for objectives, what he's looking for. I think somebody needs to give him the good news that he said his first objective is to win a trophy. Second objective is to get into Europe. You might be able to do 2 for 1, depending on what trophy you win. So you might be able to knock them off fairly quickly. But before we go on to what I'm anticipating will be a more positive talk about Unai Emery, I was reading an article the other day, and it's one I filed in the interesting category, and I thought I'd open it up for your views. We have been, and I think most Villa fans, most pundits have been fairly positive about the Unai Emery decision to bring him in, mainly because of his record abroad in terms of winning trophies in the European sphere, qualifying for European competitions. The article I was reading from somebody who I'm presuming isn't a Villa fan was along the lines of why are Villa fans and pundits getting so excited about somebody who's won European trophies when you're nowhere near Europe? You've got a team which probably hasn't been in Europe for at least 10 years, probably longer than 10 years, nearer 15, you'd say. So ill-equipped to do the job at the moment, which is to get a team 16th at time of recording towards the top half. And shouldn't we have gone the step of perhaps comparing it to Newcastle, who we played last week and which we're not talking about? They were linked with Unai Emery, didn't get him because he decided to stay where he was for personal reasons, and got Eddie Howe. And in terms of somebody who, when you're at the top of the tree, you probably wouldn't be hiring Eddie Howe, but somebody who knows the league and has been able to quietly go about building a much better team than the one where he joined the club. I mean, having a couple of 100 million, no doubt, helped. But it made me think for a second. I mean, in terms of ultimately, I still think you go for the best man in terms of on overall record, even if it doesn't quite marry up. Do you think there's any merit in the argument that we needed somebody for a dogfight, not somebody for a European Sion? Or is that just a case of the author perhaps thinking, oh, how can Villa attract somebody so good? They need to know their place.
I think the author's a bit of a dickhead, to be honest with you. I think that you've got to, you dress to impress, don't you? You dress for how you want to be, for how good you are for the job you want. You sat in that HR meeting in that Batman suit because you want to be Batman. Yep. So you go out there and you go and get Unai Emery because he's the best manager available to you. And okay, there were rumours about Poch, there were rumours about Tuchel, but it seems that they were never people that we went after. That Unai Emery was Nassif Suarez's first choice, and that was that. And he's got the bloke he wanted. And yeah, okay, Suarez is an Arsenal fan apparently, and maybe that played into it a bit because of Emery's time at Arsenal, but I don't think it did. I think it's very much a case of this man has done it at the highest level. This man knows how to take teams who are on the outskirts of the top six, top eight, and can punch through and knock down that fourth wall, and get the club to where they need to be. And for me, you could have had somebody who knows the league and can navigate a dogfight, but is that all they're ever going to be able to do? Are they going to be able to kick on? Are they going to be able to attract the players you want? Steven Gerrard attracted the players that we wanted. He attracted the best players that we probably ever signed, really. When you think about it, who'd have thought that Carlos and Kamara would have joined us?
Yep.
Luka Din as well. And that, but he didn't have the skill set to take it forward. Unai Emery has the skill set to build on what we've already got and to bring in those top names, just as Gerrard did. I think he's the all-round package. And whilst there is excitement there hasn't been a lot of fanfare. And the media sort of seem to have left us alone a little bit with the Emery appointment, because it's not their mate Steve who's got the job anymore, that Gerrard deserved a chance, Gerrard deserved this. Everybody wanted Gerrard to do well. But Unai Emery is going to be the one who takes us forward. You look at those training videos so far, and whilst it's only 30 seconds and the rest of training could have been them playing Hungry Hungry Hippos, trying to beat Axel Twanzabi's Guinness Book of Records record. What we saw there with the high press and with Jacob Ramsey further forward, and that stop, Jacob, that's your first mistake. And then Ramsey goes and scores, and seeing the likes of Kamara being back fit, because that's all about Emery. He's worked that magic. It just fills you with confidence. And if you can get somebody who's gone and won all those trophies, then why wouldn't you? If you could afford to go out there and buy a £500 pretty green Parker, you're not going to B&M for a raincoat. You know what I mean?
No, and I do think in terms of, you have managers who fall into largely two categories. Good managers. Good coaches, ones who are kind of on the training ground. You mentioned kind of the tactical forefront. So that's the little details they're looking to improve on. Pochettino as well would be another example. Or good managers, motivators and people who have a good staff around them. So the tactical minutiae is not necessarily done by the manager. I mean, looking back historically, Alex Ferguson, for example, he personally wasn't the greatest tactician in the world, but he knew that, and he had people around him who worked on those coaching things that were required during the course of it, like Steve McLaren, for example, in terms of he was, when they were in that period where they won the European Cup, or one of the times when the European Cup, it was McLaren on the training field. Ferguson, the figurehead, the one dealing with that. So you can have two different ways of success. But for me, the fact that Emery is more a coach fills me with more confidence than somebody who's a man manager. Because in terms of, as you mentioned, we've had somebody who's kind of had the name and, Gerrard, I want to play for Gerrard because of what he did as a player. Tactically left a bit wanting. Emery, because he is a coach, tactics based, I always think in terms of, if you have a good coach, and I'm not saying our players are average, because I don't think they are average, but good coach, average players, great coach, great players, average tactician, you can have more of a trajectory upwards if you've got a good coach than just a motivator, because ultimately in terms of talent only takes you so far, tactics only take you so far, but you can outmaneuver your opposition easier if you have a well-drilled plan. I mean, the ultimate example of that, I know it's your international football, Greece 2004. Tactical plan. In terms of, did they have the better players? Absolutely not. Did they have the tactics that flummoxed the opposition? Absolutely. So for me, because Emery's on that side of I'm not saying he's Otto Rehhagel, manager of Greece, in terms of we're going to be putting kind of everybody behind proverbial wall and playing for 1-0. But the fact he's a tactician fills me with more confidence in terms of perhaps not walking into a Champions League squad that he is.
Look at the players at our disposal though as well. And on paper, we've got arguably the best squad of players outside the top six, in my opinion.
I think
There
we've
are,
got a decent starting 11. I'm not sure about squad.
yeah, sorry, starting 11 wise, and then maybe the first three subs that would come on. If you're looking at old money with football,
Yeah,
we've got a great foundation there. And when you think that at the moment we're picking up a few wins, not enough wins, obviously, because otherwise Gerard would still be here. But we're picking up a few wins, and we've still got Carlos to come back and Kamara to come back, and we're yet to see the best of Cameron Archer. And we know that Anwar El Ghazi is going to return at some point to save us.
obviously.
Then it can only get better, and we might not get where we want to this season. But I'd take top half. I'd take a point more than what we got last season. You know, I'd hope to finish at least 11th. And I think that we will do. But Emery needs time. Emery needs time. And once he gets that time, he'll show just how great he can be. And you've got to applaud him for, watching Peaky Blinders and whatnot and learning the lingo and learning about Birmingham as well as an area and wanting to emerge himself in the history and the tradition of the club. And everything that he said in his interview about it wasn't just the Premier League that attracted me, it was Aston Villa because we are a big club. It just fills you with confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of your first manager interview, there's kind of a standard script in terms of if he would have turned around and gone Villa are a small time club and I'm going to take them to the big time, then yeah, I think you mentioned the media weren't paying too much attention. They would have been paying attention if he would have said that. So in terms of he was saying the right things, there is potential because we are a club with money and maybe not as much as Newcastle or Man City or clubs like that, but Emre's been given the longest managerial contract in Villa history. So that leads you to believe the board are going to back him. And I mean, we just want to see what the plan is. And I think that was kind of the thing near the end of Gerrard. There was just no plan. But Emre, confidence with the plan and immersing himself in Villa history, as you mentioned. Hopefully he hasn't been digging around too much into the recent history of the game that is coming up at Villa Park on Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m, where we welcome Manchester United to Villa Park. Don't need me to tell you, 1995, last time we beat them at home in the league. We beat them twice away in the league since then. From recollection, we beat them at home in the League Cup. But the fact that we can name the occasions where we've beat a club in 20, nearly 30 years demonstrates we don't exactly have a very good record against Manchester United. Hopefully, as I said, Emery hasn't gone too much into that. But as we often do in terms of when we preview the games, a quick word about our visitors, Manchester United. After a slightly shaky start to the season, things appear to be going all right for United. They found some defensive solidarity. I mean, after the horror show of 4-0 away at Brentford, obviously that means we're the best team ever because we beat Brentford 4-0. Yep. But they have dealt with the drama of Ronaldo in terms of the coach realizing that Ronaldo can't play in the system that, he wants to play. And also realistically, the top teams in the league are playing, that pressing from the front. Ten Hag, given credit, realised that shirt sales can't win you games, so hasn't been playing Ronaldo every week. Of course, that means he will start on Sunday and score a hat-trick. But in terms of Manchester United, at time of recording, before the weekend's fixtures, 5th in the league on 23 points, 17 goals scored, 16 conceded, 8 points behind the leaders, Arsenal. What have you thought it's been about Man United so far this season?
Poor start. took Ten Hag a while, but there were flashes, weren't there? And I think that some of the things that were said about the players, such as Martinez not being tall enough and whatnot, probably helped spur them on. Really,
Yep.
they're a driven bunch of players. It's not working out for Ronaldo, but that doesn't mean that he's lost his class. And all this stuff over Talksport and places the other week of after Ronaldo walked off at the end of that match, does that tarnish his legacy? No, it's a little bit of blip, but it doesn't tarnish it at all.
It doesn't, because you always knew he was a tit, and he's just been a tit, but he's a tit who's won pretty much everything you can in the game. So, you're not, as you said, you're not taking that away.
Yeah, you're not going to go, oh, I don't count that Champions League win because that's it scored. You're going to be thinking
Yep.
that's the one that Ronaldo absolutely bossed it. Um, I, they're on a bounce, aren't they? I watched them against Chelsea, and I thought the first half they were really good. Second half, Chelsea came at them and took over the game, but like typical Man United of old, it was crosses into the box, getting their head on the end of it, and getting a goal. I don't think they've got. I don't think their team sheet strikes fear into the heart of everybody like it used to. When you had York and Cole and Beckham and Giggs and Scholes and Keane and all of them. Over the Fergie years, but they're doing all right, and they'll finish the season quite well. I think we had them both to finish top six, didn't we, this year?
Yeah, I think six. I think I had it with trepidation, but yeah, top six.
I think I had them fifth. Can't remember. We had them the other way around. But that being said, mate, all comes to a head on Sunday for them. They're going to have a blip in the road because I'm feeling confident.
Positive Will coming out.
It's been however many years. I'd tell you, I remember when we beat them 3-1 because the Doug Ellis was still being built at the time, wasn't it? There was still the work there. My granddad, God rest his soul, he used to sell tickets, as you know, like lottery tickets in the Trinity concourse underneath. So I'd be there shouting lottery tickets, he'd be there shouting lottery tickets, and we were in for free. So we try and find a seat, and there weren't any seats, absolutely sold out. So my granddad goes, right, follow me, and we walk right past the Man United fans and sit with the builders in the Doug Ellis stand, and obviously we won 3-1. But as we're leaving to go back to drop the money off for the tickets, it's free, and then we walk past the Man United fans, and it's the first time I ever heard certain words come out of my mum's mouth because they jumped up and they went, we scored, and my mum went, fuck off, you're losing.
And then there was a builder's escort out to the stadium.
The bloke shut up. It was mate, shut him up. But yeah, 3-1. And I'm confident for this weekend. I think that Emery's going to galvanise us. He won't stand for any nonsense. I think he'll be tactically aware with his substitutions as well, a bit like Danks was against Brentford. I think it's time to break the curse. Really, really do. What about you? Are we going to get something?
No. We've got a new era with Emery, but some things need to remain the same. Positive Will, negative Baz. We need to keep that going. I do think in terms of, we mentioned in the preview Newcastle episode, I thought the Newcastle game was a free hit in terms of players, perhaps to an extent, looking forwards to the Emery era. Play 4-2-3-1 against Brentford, win 4-0. Play the exact same team formation against Newcastle, lose 4-0. Martinez getting injured. Obviously played a massive impact in the Newcastle results. You have to believe. I can't see he would have conceded some of the goals that we did if he was in between the sticks. But
Probably not. But again, some of us mentioned that Callum Wilson might be in the England squad, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean he's in a bit of form, and
it's another episode. We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we will see. Go back in the back catalogue to see our World Cup catalogue. In terms of some of the players in there, probably are a catalogue. In terms of not playing anymore. But World Cup squad it will be coming out before the World Cup, obviously, and so we will be looking back at our predictions, seeing how badly wrong we were, or in the case of Will, if Callum Wilson comes in, he'll be doing a victory dance. Speaking of victory dance, you kind of alluded to there in terms of you think the curse will be lifted. Score prediction time. Will you be
Mate,
doing the victory dance?
yeah, too right, I will be. And I'm feeling really confident. I'm feeling like Villa Park's going to be rocking. That people are going to be annoyed anyway because of the train strikes apparently have been called off, but people are going to be annoyed anyway because of the weather, and they're
Yep.
going to be there. They're going to be getting hot under the collar. They're going to be annoyed that they can't boo Bruno because he's suspended. So someone's going to come in with a challenge. The referee's not going to give it. We're going to be all, fuck them up, get into them, and that's when we're going to smash them, and we're going to absolutely obliterate them. And I think it's going to be a nice, reminiscent of the first game of the season. I think it's going to be 3-1 Villa. I'm going 3-1 Villa. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Danny Ings, who I didn't praise enough after the game against Brentford. I've got an episode just for that alone,
Yep.
coming out soon. I think Ollie Watkins and I think Cameron Archer get our goals. I think all three of them will score and start us off on the right foot in the Emery era.
There we go. I mean, an optimism that even the eternal optimist friend of the show, Russell Homer, would stand up and applaud there with home 3-1 win. For me, yeah, we got to keep it going, positive, negative. I think United will win 2-0. I think in terms of United are on a good run of form. They're defensively sound. Well, if you take away Gate
That's why we'll win.
conceding six to Man City, you take
That's
that
why
away.
we'll win. They're
Yep.
on a run of form.
That is often the way. I mean, I agree. We're going to be up for it. I think in terms of the atmosphere is going to be good. There's going to be welcoming. I mean, it's the Remembrance Sunday game for Villa as well, so that always has a little edge. And we have played United on that game before. And if I was being the optimistic side, I would go 2-2. And we've had against United examples of 2-2s before where we've been winning 2-0 and thrown it away. And last season where we were losing 2-0 and came back to it. But I think it'll be 2-0 United. I think in terms of Emery, as much as he's got Jacob Ramsey scoring in the training sessions, I think he needs a bit more time to get his ideas across. I think Thursday's League Cup game could be a different situation depending on the teams that get played in terms of do United play a reserve team? Do we play a full strength team? That could be an interesting dynamic. As you mentioned, Old Trafford isn't exactly the fortress that it used to be. And even we've won there, as I've mentioned last couple of times. But Sunday, I think it's come a little too soon for Emery to really stamp it in. I think we expect to be organised in terms of defensively. I think that'll be our priority. I can't see us going to try and smash United off the park. I think it's going to be in terms of just trying to be defensively compact and look for chances on the break. And once bitten, twice shy. United at home, it's like once bitten, 25 times kind of beaten around the head in terms of since 95. So I'm going 2-0 United, but there will be nobody happier than me if we do go into the positive will territory. But I say there's going to be no one more positive than me. If you disagree, you can go on our Twitter page at Talk Trinity. If we win, you can, we usually have 3 words to describe the result. Might even stretch to 4 if we beat United. But you can keep up to date with all of the team news, all the rumours in terms of who might be playing, who's not playing. We're already speculating about January, the transfer window. World Cup. We may even have a picture of Callum Wilson if he gets called up to the England squad. Spoiler alert, we won't. But, we throw it out there. You can check out our previous episodes on our YouTube channel or audio, if you prefer the audio, smoothing tones of Two Brummies or our guests, because we do have a number of guest episodes in the back catalogue. I do think I need to trademark that. I think in terms of, it's if we have a merchandising deal, if somebody wants to pay us to start a line of Wally Watkins back catalogue, I think that's going to be big. But in the meantime, Spotify, Amazon, Google, Apple for our audio podcasts. But it's been a bright and breezy, straight to the point podcast this week. So before I pass you over to Mr. Trinity himself for his final thoughts, thanks very much for listening, watching, however you're digesting this content. We do very much appreciate all of the views, listens, likes, subscribes, retweets, all of the other ways you can interact with us. In terms of dress for the job you want, I had an interview as an undertaker this afternoon. Will United be dealing a death blow to Villa's hopes of getting a result on Sunday, or will we be rising up towards an angelic victory? We wait to find out. We'll be back with you soon. Thanks very much for listening, watching. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, Tar. Thank you very much. Let's hope that there is a catalogue of errors, but for Manchester United this time, and then we get to see Unai Emery's real Villa. Yeah, you like what I did there. And as always, he's Villa till I die. He's Villa till he dies, and a very big Undertaker fan.
Nope.
I'm Villa till I die, and a Randy Orton fan. Cheers, Tar. Thank you very much. Up the Villa.